Yesterday, I had the opportunity twice to be at the Korean War Memorial in Washington, D.C., once with the president and once with Ambassador Lee. And as I was there, I thought through the questions that were going to be asked today. And I said, what is this miracle alliance all about? Because it truly is a miracle. You look at the Republic of Korea, it's a miracle of any alliance. It's a model alliance for around the world. It's one of four tenets, and I'll talk about one of them particularly, but realistically, the strength of the alliance is made up more than just the military. It's the people to people, the American people and the people of the Republic of Korea that make the alliance so strong. Secondly, it's the political alliance, meaning between administrations, national assemblies and congresses, and those that represent our populations. Third, it's the military part, which General Sharp certainly very succinctly put forth in his discussion. And fourth, it's the diplomacy. And if any of those tenets become weak, or any of those pillars become weak, the alliance becomes weaker. And we're very fortunate that the alliance is very strong and has been very strong for 70 years. I looked around yesterday and I looked at the statuettes there on the wall with the faces on it, and I said to myself, why is this alliance so great? It's so great because of the men who fought, both American, Korean, United Nations. It's because of the Korean people who suffered the devastation of an attack by North Korea. And it's so great that out of the ashes of a very devastating war became one of the best democracies, economies, and militaries around the world. So what is another strength of the alliance? Another strength of the alliance is the fact that when either party is needed, and you can go back in recent history, when any party is needed, the other party has joined in. And whether it has to do with provocation, whether it has to do with Afghanistan, Iraq, whether it has to do with Bosnia, whether it has to do with medical, whether it has to do with providing face masks during a COVID crisis, all the parties get involved. So that's the emotional tie, which is not tangible, that makes the alliance so great. What are some of the other lessons? Well, in my view, and I know you'll get some disagreement on this, the threat has not changed. The threat is the same. The threat has gotten much stronger. The threat is nuclear. The threat is long-range ballistic missiles. The threat is against the Republic of Korea. The threat is against global peace and unity. And the binding part of that is that it's not only for the peninsula, it's for all of Northeast Asia that we keep this alliance so strong. When we talk about the military part, the CFC is the key to deterrence and defense. And in a real sense, General Sharp said it, and I'll say it again. Readiness is the key. Training is the key. Being ready to fight tonight and defend the Republic of Korea. Being ready to defend and fight for the people of the Republic of Korea, and not let anything, and I mean anything, put a wedge between the two parties who initially have to fight and potentially give their all to save the Republic of Korea against a very serious threat. And you know, when you think about the tactics, and it is a tactic, the tactic of North Korea has not changed. It's a tactic of bullying, provocation, and more recently, good guy, bad guy, if you will, between the relatives in the North. Most recently, we looked at the destruction of a liaison office in Kaesong, which was had a peaceful mission. It had nothing to do with the threat. It was a peaceful mission provided by the people of the Republic of Korea and the administration. So in that context, bullying, provocation takes different forms. And if anyone believes that that was not just another provocation, I think they're deluding themselves. And we should not fall for that kind of provocation by giving in my view. And I was talking to the president in the morning yesterday when he came to talk to me, and he mentioned, he said, North Korea understands, well, I said it and he sort of agreed. I said, North Korea understands strength of the alliance, and that's the key to deterrence. The other thing I will say, and I'll end it with this because I want to give others time to talk about this very important topic. Many times the press will get hung up with issues that are not very important. For example, we'll talk about dollars and cents. We'll talk about contribution, but it's not, in my mind and in my heart, it's not about that. It's not about dollars and cents. It's about security of the people of the Republic of Korea and of the Republic of Korea. As a nation, as a government, and it applies to all governments, security of its people is the most important job that they have. So in my mind's eye, when we think about what is the alliance all about, what's the lesson learned of the alliance, why has this alliance thrived for 70 years? It's because we've had the common thread of security of the Republic of Korea, safety and security of the people of the Republic of Korea as we go forward. So with that, I'll end my little discussion. Be glad to talk about it later on. And thanks again for listening.
Great, thank you, General Foley. Bruce.
It's a pleasure to be here today. I appreciate the opportunity of participating with such renowned military leaders. I think the key to any alliance is recognizing that you've got a threat. If you don't have threats, you usually don't have alliances. And we can notice from the Korean War that the threat from North Korea really hasn't changed very much. They still want to unify the country under their control. This is the key that we are facing potentially from North Korea. And in terms of doing that, they have recognized over time that the important things for them to do that is to break the U.S. ROK Alliance and then have a military leverage on South Korea to be able to either conquer or control. Those things haven't changed. Those things continue. North still trying to put a wedge between our countries, and we can't let that happen. We have to recognize that we are operating together, that we face a common threat from North Korea to our interests, and we've got to work together to deal with that. How do we do it? The key is deterrence at this stage. We don't want to fight another war, but to deter, you have to be strong. You have to have defensive capability and brotherhood of arms that you're prepared to work together. Those are the things that we have to bring to this with all the technologies and capabilities. We have to be prepared to protect ourselves as well, because if at some point deterrence fails, we don't want to win a Pyrrhic victory. We want to win in a way that will provide us continued peace and security in the aftermath. And so it requires strength in the alliance. And that is something which has endured throughout the period of the alliance. I'm grateful for the opportunity of having been able to deal with Korean issues, but I think we have to be particularly focused on the North Korean nuclear weapon threat. The interest of our president and of our current military leaders in controlling that is absolutely key. One North Korean nuclear weapon of the size of the 2017 nuclear test in North Korea would kill or seriously injure about 3 million people in Seoul. We can't let that happen. We've got to try to get that under control. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. And from Korea, General Shin.
It's my great pleasure to be here with General Tory, General Sharp, and Bruce, and all of my great big mentors. And so I think in overall, I agree with what General Tory and Bruce mentioned about the alliance and the threat. And I think no doubt about that, and everybody aware of that. And based on the actually questions from the General Sharp, I it's a 70 years of the alliance, and it's a long history. In Korea, when we become the 70 years old, we call 고희. Actually, it means very rare case, and I believe it means it's very special. And the alliance 70 years is very special. I think that we have learned many lessons during that 70 years. There has been up and downs in our alliance histories, but I do believe that the alliance has been the cornerstone and the linchpin of the Korea defense, Korea security, and also the prosperity of the Korean Peninsula. And if you ask me what are the lessons, I think the lessons that I learned from this alliance history is that maintaining the strong alliance is not free, and it takes a lot of efforts, and it takes a lot of sacrifice. I think the same is true for the future. And regarding the strengths of the alliance, I'd like to point out that the one very special expression that actually originated from the Korean War, like the history of the alliance, that is the 같이 갑시다 spirit, which means that we go together spirit. Actually, this has been right now the motto of the alliance, and actually that expression first used by the General Baek Sun-yeop, the Korean hero of the Korean hero during the Korean War. And I'm certain that the spirit will continue to become the main strength of the alliance in the future. And my second point, I'd like to point out that what are we have CFC, Combined Defense System, as the strength of the alliance to deter North Korean threat. But in this time, I'd like to point out that the friendship and the bondage of the Korea and the United States people and their friendship and how strong, there are many reasons that I can raise this as the strength of the alliance. I'd like to name that how many friendship organizations in Korea actually are existing now. And my organization, which is the Korea-U.S. Alliance Foundation, General Sharp's organization, like Korea Defense Veterans Association, I cannot name that all of them, but there are many organizations that are thinking about the alliance, that are supporting the alliance, and from the past, today, and the future, it will continue. I think this is the power of the alliance. Thank you.